Hey, greetings, one and all, and welcome back to the Timeless Gamer Show, where our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey, it's Timeless, and we are now live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And for all of our previous episodes, you can still check them out by going through our socials, or you can just listen to us talk by going to the major audio podcast platforms out there. And we also like uh, to have this opportunity to give a shout out to BitMap Books and Streamyard for allowing us to be one of their official affiliates. And a shout out to our Retromancy cohorts, Studio.ph, who which by the way, Sir Raymond attended the PGDX, the Philippine Gamer Developer Expo, earlier. More on that later. And Shuffle Emporium and Retro Unlimited, and a shout out as well to our friends in the Sega Mega Masters podcast there in YouTube. Thank you, guys. And oh, for today's episode, we are going to talk about the gaming husbands. So, on our season 11 premiere of of the Timeless Gamer Show, so we talked about the gaming waifus. Our top pick female characters in video games. Now, turning it around, we're talking about the top lads, the guys this time about the video games. Okay, so and I would like to um and I promise him that I will do this. We will keep things halal. Okay, we will keep things halal. Um, we need to put that disclaimer in. No homo. Okay, this is that's an appreciate. I mean, here in the Timeless Gamers, I mean, we're trying to be inclusive. Okay, if female video game characters can be objectified, it's fair game. So are the men. Alrighty, but more on that later. So for this particular episode, this was brought to us by Miss Eileen right there. She will be headlining this episode. All right, me and Sir Joel here, we are just flavor text. All right. So we will have Miss I and Miss Hino here charging in. Okay, it's going to be like what's the term there? It's going to be a Chip and Dale episode, or a Magic Mike episode around here. We're just basically chaperoning. But more on that later. So introducing the panel for tonight, we got Sir Joel from Banyaga Native.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being here in the Timeless Gamers Show. Today we are featuring the strong, well, not necessarily strong, but the very impactful male characters in video gaming. And well, like Joe says, he and I are here for Flavor Text. We are here to support our compatriots here in the Timeless Gamer Show and in the audience who are fascinated with the male characters in video gaming. Like my subtitle says here in the group, I'm violently heterosexual, so I have nothing to contribute on this. But I do want to find out more about what video games there are that have good male characters. So I'm here to listen in, and I hope so you guys are too. Back to you, Joe.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Joel. And how about Miss Hinu?
Hello, everyone. Today we're discussing the other side of the coin. We have the husbandos. So, I guess we're gonna tackle a bit of more general approach when it comes to husbando. Just like with the waifus, we're planning to make things very cultured and halal, as Joe said. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you for that, Miss Hinu. And how about the show captain for tonight? Miss I.
Hi everyone, welcome to Timeless Gamers, and tonight we are going to discuss about the husbandos as opposed to last week's waifus. And as I expected, there's only a few of us here, so girls represent.
Girls represent indeed. Um, for this particular episode, okay, we'll so like I mentioned, okay, for for viewer discretion, of course. If you notice, it's just the four of us. Okay, Sir JDM can't be here because he has prior engagements. Sir Ray is in PGDX.
Oh, one
Sir
moment, Joe.
Dan
I
submitted
think
his.
there's a little bit of extra background noise.
Oh,
Could everybody double check if they have something
yep.
running in the back?
I think it's coming from Messino. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Um, where was? Sir JDM can't be here because of a previous engagement. Sir Rick is currently in PGDX. Sir Dan submitted his picks for this episode, and uh, Sir Viraj says, all of you are degenerates. You all should go to church and pray to Jesus. So he's protesting outside of the studio right now.
He's all alone
I think
outside our facility, holding up a sign saying those exact words. You guys are all degenerates. You guys should pray to Jesus. Those are the exact words on his sign. He's parading outside, picketing the Timeless Gamers show office. But that's
And he,
how it is.
and here in the Timeless Gamer Show, like we mentioned, we like pissing off Sir Viraj in any way, shape, and
Oh
form.
yeah, absolutely. It's like our inside joke and inside our game here within the show. But yeah, that's what we do. We love him for that too.
So we'll just head before we do before we resume the festivities. I would like to give a quick shout out to the people down there in the chat. Mr. Shark 987 joining us from from YouTube. So Shark 987, Sir Joel, Miss I. So he's the one who accompanied me during my Xenoblade Chronicles X
Oh,
stream,
very cool.
and thank you, Shark 987, for finding us and staying tuned on this particular episode. It's not usually like this, okay? we're not usually like this, but but any topic here in Timeless Gamer Show, we just do it, okay?
Yeah.
And Sir JDM, of course, is joining us in the chat. Sir Marlon Hurtado Eliscopides is there as well, giving his own take on this gaming husbands episode. And of course, Madame Jane is here. Hi,
Hi,
Mom.
Mom.
Our
All right.
favorite supporters will always be our moms. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
So, so for let's go on with it. Let's do gaming news. What's the news for this week, guys?
Well, there's two pieces of news, if I remember correctly. The first piece is that, video game television series has just been canceled. The last video game series that I remember having been canceled, just happened recently. It was Halo from Paramount Plus. So, for those of you who are not in the know, Halo had a television show on their on their streaming platform Paramount Plus. It was one of their flagship television programs, and it was generally regarded as a total disaster by the gaming community. For those of you who are not familiar with Halo, it was just a regular, typical television sci-fi show, and I guess not enough people watched it. Normal people watched it to continue, despite the fact that the gamers protested it. So that is the news, if I remember correctly. Paramount Plus has canceled Halo, the television show, and nothing of value was lost. That's about as much as I can say.
Was it even good?
I'm sorry.
Was it even good?
No,
Halo?
I heard it was really. I mean, it was mediocre as a television show, and as something that was related to Halo. it was an utter and complete disaster. So,
Like no connection at all.
I mean, it has it wears the skin of Halo, but it is not Halo. In Master Chief takes off his helmet.
Oh,
In the game,
really?
Master Chief never ever takes off his helmet,
But that's
while
part of
eating.
his
He threw his
allure,
helmet.
right? I mean, I
Mhm.
mean, by not taking the button, by not taking off his helmet, it
Mhm.
creates that mystique what he
Exactly,
looks like.
exactly.
So, so, so if he takes that helmet
Mm,
off right off the bat, then
mm.
it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
It's
one of the
not
things
it's,
about
it's not
Master
like
Chief is that
when we did with Samus at the end of with Metroid, the
yes,
reveal was on the end. So
that's
at
true.
least at least right.
Mhm. It's probably some kind of actor thing. You sign a contract, your face must be prominently featured in the television show. So like, they complete disrespect to the video game, to the gamers. So that is gone. So Halo the television show is gone. But we the next piece of video gaming news that we have is another television show, not necessarily television, but it is going to be showing on Amazon Prime. It is Like a Dragon Yakuza. The television series is going to be dropping its first 3 episodes on October 24 here in the US, and I'm thinking maybe October 23 in Pinas. So I've seen the trailer, the teaser trailer, and it looks solid. It looks like it's going to be very faithful to the video game series, and I personally am very excited about it. They showed snippets of what Kazuma Kiryu is going to look like, and it looks good. Honestly, I think you guys are going to be enjoying that one at the very least. It's not going to be as blatantly disrespectful of the lore as Halo or maybe a War of the Rings or a Rings of Power for and that Amazon Prime just recently did. So, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, the television show, October 24 on Amazon Prime. That is coming up, and we are going to be having our own episode here in Timeless Gamer Show before that of a small recap of Yakuza, the video game series, headlined by Joe, because he is going to be playing Yakuza
Oh,
Zero.
son of a bitch. God damn it. Okay. Well, we are planning to do a what is that? Like, are we doing the Yakuza game review or the series review?
Maybe we can do a series overview, general series overview of what we like about Yakuza and what makes it unique.
Right.
Something like that. And that is
All
the
right.
video game news for the week. Back to you, Joe.
That's the video game news of this week. Oh, so the Yakuza. I haven't seen the trailer yet.
Mm,
So, are they doing Japanese actors here
yes,
or?
very much
Oh,
so.
Yes,
Very
they
they
much
should.
are.
so.
It would make sense if it's not
They should.
Japanese. That's gonna be mafia.
Mm-mm. I mean,
Right.
heck, I wouldn't say
Or
no to a mafia game television show. Miss
that would be
Eileen,
true.
Miss Eileen saw my playthrough of Mafia One.
LA
Yes,
Noir as well.
LA Noir, very cool. Yeah.
A quick shout out to Sir Jomar of Shuffle Emporium right there in the chat, and Reikyu joining us both in Facebook. All right. Next in the agenda, show and tell. So, in this portion of the show, we just bring out whatever we have that we accumulated for the last 7 days or so. Could be anything, could be games, could be books, could be anything. So, who has something for the class?
Oh, and don't forget, digital counts. If you made a digital purchase
Digital
on
content counts.
Steam, if you made a purchase on GOG, if you made a purchase on Fanatical or Humble Bundle, those all count. So anybody, bring something up from the class. Volunteers?
Me, I have.
I do.
Mikino, go for it.
Yes, you know.
I had my PS5 controller customized. So right now they took all of the official buttons off. It was reshelled and now it's like this bright red. I had this customized. Even the analog sticks are red, and the reason why I had these customized is because the official what was that, magma red, or was it volcanic red? I forgot the name. For the PS5 controller was too expensive. So this cost me half of like the official Sony one. At least I'm still sure that the original parts are still intact inside. The only thing that they change are the buttons as well as the shells. So I'm really happy with this. I like all of my gadgets. Color red because I think it's cool, and yeah, that's one of it. And I actually have one more game, Bully.
Bully.
I wasn't planning on getting this, but this came out of the wild and for a reasonable price. So I was surprised because I rarely see a black label version of Bully. Normally, I think like the greatest hits. I think it has like the red label, and the another reason why I immediately dibs this game is because not only does it have the manuals in excellent condition, it has a little comic there, some
Oh.
of course the what we love about the manual, some information about the game, the controls, and the lore. And I love maps, guys. I think I mentioned this on previous episodes. It also
Oh.
has the campus map, which is also my goal when looking for like the Grand Theft Auto games. I always want to make sure they have the maps. Plus, there's a bonus poster on the
Poster.
reverse side. So if ever we don't get a remake for Bully, at least I'm happy that now I can play my this copy because back then I just watched my cousin play this game and terrorize the school. Back to you guys.
There's something to be
Oh,
said for inserts and manuals and extras that used to come with video games. Nowadays, when you open up a Switch case, you just get the cartridge. That's it. Nothing else.
that's it.
It's just
It
like
it,
Ooh.
it
that's it.
feels so empty. It feels
And
so
sometimes you don't
devoid
even
and
get
a
the
waste of
cartridge; you just
plastic.
get a download code. They're like, "Oh my gosh!" Okay, you just
Oh,
miss
Ooh.
those days when you open up a big box where there's like a gigantic 500-page manual, stickers galore, and things that you can say, "What the heck is this?" This goes into the trash, and then you kind of miss those days. But yeah, excellent choice, Miss Hino. Bully is a really good
that,
game too. Mm.
sorry for cutting up. Speaking of like the digital code
Mm.
downloads, the collector's edition for Elden Rings DLC.
Mm.
Of course, there's like the statue figurine. We have like a mini art book and a soundtrack, but we don't have a physical disc of the game. I'm not sure if it's because it's like Asia release. There's only like a printed out code on a sheet of paper or cardboard or whatnot, and I was like, oh my
No,
Jesus
no, that is
Christ!
horrendous.
Like,
Honestly, you
yeah,
might as well just have just bought the bought the game on a digital platform and then bought the merchandise separately. It might have been cheaper that way too.
very true, very true.
Oh my goodness.
Back
Well,
to
there
you.
you go with Miss Hinu's presentation. All right, Miss Eileen, do you have something for the class? Oh, before
I
I go,
have
before
some.
before Miss Eileen goes, for a moment there when Miss Hinu held up her red controller, I thought she got the Deadpool one for
I
Xbox.
Same.
was going. I was going to ask.
The
It's
That was
not
a
cheesy
that
one.
Deadpool
weird.
controller.
For a very quick moment there, I thought, "Ooh, Deadpool controller." Oh well. Anyway,
I want that actually. Not. Ano-
all right, Miss Eileen,
Actually,
no
me and
time.
Sir Joel are waiting for the Cortana edition.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The
Oh,
Cortana edition with nice fondling motion and everything. Anyway,
Modeling
the
motion.
Miss
Wolverine one.
Eileen, your
Come
turn.
on, Xbox, Cortana.
Lara Croft.
I would
Why
rather
not?
buy
Anyway,
Cortana than Deadpool or Wolverine, mind you.
But
Miss
if
Eileen,
it's
if you have
Lara
something
Croft,
for
it's
the
gonna be
class, let us
pointy.
know.
My show and tell items are not bought recently. They're a few years ago, but they're related to our topic for tonight. So speaking of husbandos, my top husbando isn't from a video game but from an anime. So I'm not sure. Let me turn off my background for a second so you can see it properly. Um, if you're familiar, I guess people are familiar with him.
God, it's Noriko from
Yes.
Fushigi Yugi.
And it's not just that. I also have the
The
rare
question.
UFO catcher plushie,
Wait, does that even
and
count?
it's a real thing. I
Wait,
remember buying this and having trouble with the seller, and I thought, oh my money is lost. But then it
does that
eventually
even
came.
count as husbando?
And wait, not, and as they say, there's more. And not an anime cell, but a doga. It's the outline, but with direction on the colors. I have this from a familiar scene. Can you see it? It's so bright.
A little bit
Oh,
more.
yeah, that's cool. There you
Is
go.
that drawing?
It's,
Is that a cell? A cell
it's
drawing?
yes, a part of a cell, which is the doga. It isn't exactly the cell with the paintings and the colors. It's just the outline, and I should
From
have taken
Noriko.
it off.
Okay.
There is
Nice find.
an instruction somewhere here. It says here, Hadaka naked. Noriko naked. From the,
Yeah,
I think
semi-naked.
it's the pod. I think I
Topless.
remember. And
Of course.
this is number 2. I forgot how they wrote the instructions here, but this is showing the highlights of the hair, the colors, which shadows should be where. So those are my Noriko stuff. I bought these years ago, and if we have FUFB, I have FPU customs because they taxed me on these things, and they shouldn't have, because at least now we have the de minimis 10,000 pesos no tax, but then before they taxed the thing. So FU customs. Those are all my husbando stuff, my top husbando, Nurik.
You're cheating with Noriko. I can't believe you forget just Noriko. Cheater.
So those are my top husbando. I actually also have a visual novel, but it's deep inside my cabinet. I couldn't get it. There's
Finish
so
your
many.
sentence, please.
There's so much stuff covering my Noriko visual novel.
Trying.
It's somewhere buried there. I cannot get it.
All right. Thank you for that, Miss I. What's the saying go, Sir Joel? Sometimes to be the best man, you need to be the best girl.
Absolutely. Yeah.
True.
Agreed. And
True.
sometimes, it's the
Noriko is
absolute opposite.
basically best waifu and husbando in
Well,
one.
Very
Who
and
in
true.
then
one?
it's coming to the point now where in order to be the best girl, you have to be the best man. Some gentlemen have been winning beauty competitions too in drag.
Play.
Yes, there you go. So it happens.
They're in that age. All right.
All right. So I guess it's my turn then, huh? All right. Let me just turn off my my background because these are horrendous when it comes to show and tell. But yeah, this I wasn't able to get anything this week. Things have been really busy. But I got this last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a game called Pacific Drive for PlayStation 5. It's a roguelike where you are teleported into an alternate zone, an alternate universe where you have it's a survival crafting game where you drive a station wagon and your station wagon constantly breaks down. You go out, you forage for various parts for your station wagon off of wrecks on along the road, and you fight off, monsters, shall we say, or kind of like dark shadows that come at you. You're doing your very best to try to survive to get out of this what they call the Olympic contamination zone. And I found it on sale at woot.com for I think $15. I decided to get it because, well, the PlayStation 5 needs a little bit of love too from my household. I haven't been getting much PS5 stuff because, well, I've been getting a lot of it on Xbox. But I downloaded it off of Steam also, and I've been playing a lot of it. Haven't had the chance to crack open the PS5 copy of Pacific Drive, but it's a lot of fun. It forces you to use your brain to try to find stuff that keeps your car going until you get out of the zone and get back into reality. It's roguelike in the sense that every time you go into the zone, it is a different layout. So you can't always rely on what you've known from your previous runs. I think that is the definition of roguelike nowadays. So it's not always the same layout every time that you go. Actually, that's a really good topic that we might want to try for a future episode in in TGS job roguelike games. But this is going to be my feature
Roguelike.
one. Yes, roguelike games. So this one, Pacific Drive for PlayStation 5, the deluxe edition. It has reversible cover sheet, traveler's journal inside of it, in-game cosmetic
Sure.
packs, extras, and things like that. And the nice thing about it is even the deluxe editions that have started to go down in price nowadays for video games. Lucky us gamers. So, terrible economy can sometimes yield good results too. Back to you, Joe.
All right. Thank you for that, guys, for your show and tell. And that's it, guys. So let's now proceed to the meat and bones of the show, which is the gaming husbandos of video games, or top lads, or chads, what have you. Miss I will be the one helming the show for this episode. So let's give it to her.
So if last week the topic was on waifus, tonight it will be the husbandos. What is a husbando? Usually it is a fictional male character, either anime or video game characters, that one is infatuated with or would think as an ideal partner. I remember back in grade school talking about this with classmates, and they said, it's crazy liking an anime character that's like silly. And it isn't really because lots of people are interested in fictional characters because they have their own characters, background profiles, and personalities. How about any of you? What are your perceived definition of husbando?
Let me
Okay.
start
Miss
with
Miss
that.
Tina.
I guess right now, uh, husbando is more of a general term because it doesn't necessarily mean that you want that character to be like your partner. Sometimes you're just crushing heavily on that character and you call them a husbando, just like when people like a female character and that's already a waifu, but that character is not necessarily waifu material. So I think it's more of a general term right now, and that's how I also loosely use the word from my end. Back to you. I.
That sounds like what most people actually believe as well, and see what the husbando is. How about from the guys? Sergio, what do you think is husbando?
All right. Okay. To keep things halal, okay, I need to be very careful on my words here, okay? To me, okay, this is just me, okay, this is just me. It's not about the physical appearances, really. Yeah, sure, it's there. But to me, uh, they cater the personalities, the attitudes that you yourself are lacking. That you kind of admire them for having those kinds of features because you yourself are not able to project. Sometimes it's either inner strength, courage, or how they handle their business in the or stress, or how they just how they deal with how they deal with their own insecurities, and sometimes how you can feel relatable to them by going through the motions of their set written circumstances. You find yourself imagining that if it's you on their shoes, would you incline to do the same, or would things be different? Or turn it around, if they if you fantasize about being with them, not necessarily in a romantic way, but having them as like a close companion or a friend, maybe maybe our lives could turn to the better as well. That's to me anyway. All right. So that's my answer, Sir Viraj. Okay. Just in case you're listening.
I don't think he's gonna protest about that because that is actually quite a good analogy on the topic. actually very interesting. I find it interesting. How about Sir Joel? What do you think is a husband?
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the office doors right now, and Viraj is, banging against them with his sign, held aloft saying, degenerates. He's flipped it around, really. But yeah,
Says here, it says, this is pure filth. Normally, I'd be upset not being to tune in to an episode like this. You'll need to go to church and pray to Jesus.
yeah, that's Viraj for you. Okay. In my case, the short and sweet definition is that if I were a girl, I would want that. I would want that male video gaming character to be with me of forever. And I guess that's the basic definition of it for me, anyway. And that's my understanding of it, and that's probably one of the reasons why I can't relate, because I like my tag here says I'm violently heterosexual. So I mean, I can entertain a thought, but I can't really put myself in those shoes. Really, I can respect the thoughts. I can I can imagine it, but I can't really put myself in them. So I'm here to listen to not just you guys, to Miss Eileen and Miss Hinu, but I also want to hear the people in the chat. And some people have been putting in some really good suggestions too. Zaidain, Zaidain is here in the chats. Thank you. There's also an Nishuni Oji who says Crom from Fire Emblem Awakening is one of my fave gaming husbandos. I still have to get into the Switch Fire Emblem series. I hear
From
they're
the MC?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I still have to get into the
Main
Fire
character
Emblem Switch. I hear they're really, really good though. I have 3 houses and stock, and I've heard it's leagues better than what I tried before.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it. You heard
Oh,
it here
no.
first. Sir Joel has 3 houses.
No, that's
Oh
Fire
my
Emblem 3 houses. No, no, I don't. I only have the one. Okay, there you go. But and Raymond Rendes, who says husbando yung pinagnanasaan na lalaki ng babaeng gamer. That's
Oh,
basically
boy.
my definition.
Yeah.
The
That's
male
correct.
character who
That's
is
correct.
being
That's not wrong.
sought after by female gamers, and that's perfectly fine. Every gamer has their preferences, and female gamers can go for male characters too. That's perfectly fine. So
And in my case, I can go for both.
no, there you go. That's it. Full respect to
And that's
everybody.
why I'm here as well.
Everybody has their preferences, and that we respect that too. We give respect and we get respect too. That's basically our motto here in Timeless Gamers, and of course, entertainment and education. But like Reikyu says, Judge Dredd from the '90s movies with Stallone. That's that's an option too, Reikyu. That's something. Well, between Stallone and Carl
The
Urban.
actual
I'll still
Judge
choose Carl
or
Urban.
Judge Dredd.
There you go. So yeah, that is my take on it, and I like what people are tossing in. Miss Eileen, Miss Hinu, the audience. Keep it up, guys. Back to you, Miss Eileen.
So we have really very interesting comments down there. But first of all, shout out to Nishun Oji on YouTube, because she's my bestie and I told her to watch this because she loves husbands. She also has waifus. So hi to all wife friends. Hi. And
That's a person of culture and my comrade right there.
yes.
People
And
of culture, welcome.
yes, welcome. And like Zizan Tribal said earlier, pwede din pinagnanasaan natin kapwa lalaki. Also, even guys who lost over fellow guys, so they're bi friends. It's for everyone.
Oh yeah, and we respect that too. That's perfectly fine. If that's
Totally respect.
if that's the way that you go, then that's the way you go.
For the people
Some
who
other-
just tuned in, so for the previous episodes, we were talking about tits and ass. Now we're talking about dicks and abs. Back to you.
Yes, abs. Thank you.
Dicks and abs, guys. Dicks, DNA.
Mhm.
Well, so it's DNA before, now it's DNA. Go.
We'll have to put that in our lexicon permanently, Joe. Okay, that is if we're going
Oh,
into the.
hang on. I got a flash text from Sir Viraj. Keep it
Did you say
halal.
Okay, back to you, Miss Eileen.
So it looks like at some point we're gonna need holy water. Because the bridge is seething in the train like driving. Okay, so we're gonna have to talk about our husbandos. I guess I'll give it a start because I'm the one who's piloting the episode anyway.
Go, go,
Um,
go.
Such an irony that my main pick is behind me and you cannot see him properly. Where is he? There. Where, there, this
Where's the
guy.
dude?
It's Alistair Theron from Dragon Age, the one on my
Wow.
Alice.
not my left but my right, the one with the sword and looking like that. So that's Alistair Theron from Dragon Age. For a background, he is your first companion as a Grey Warden, chosen to defend the world of Thedas against Darkspawn and the Great Dragon in the Blight. So this character, Alistair, has funny banter with everyone in the party. It's like when you walk through specific areas of different places on the map, there are trigger points for when characters talk about anything, absolutely anything. And if you have a party of three or more, Alistair usually has some funny dialogues with whoever is your other companion. It's really funny. I couldn't remember the dialogues, but there are lots of funny moments when he talks to your other friends there. And one of the main points I like about Alistair is he was voiced by Steve Valentine. He does great voice work on the character, and wink, wink, we might have a favorite what do you call this voice actor episodes in the future. So stay tuned for that. Alistair is also a noble character who always sides with the good. That's what I like about him. He is a really good character, sides with the correct what do you call
Lawful good.
this? Yes, the lawful good. Thank you, Misino. He is quite an innocent character, but he can be a voice of reason sometimes. He is also a dependable tank in the team. So whenever, because you can have four members in the party, when your two other three members die, he is the one, last man standing. Spoiler alert. Eventually, he can become king. Depends on your decisions in the game. And also in Dragon Age, you can only romance him if you are a female main character, and you can get married to him if your character is a human. Because there are a couple of races here that you can start with, but only if you are the human that you can marry him. And
No, racist.
sorry for the
Oh, he's a
oh
sexist and a racist and a misogynist as well.
yes,
No.
because there are it's like
What a
Dragon Age
wonderful
He's
has
my
source
kind
of
of guy
affection
then.
here.
Okay.
yeah, because Dragon Age also has social issues like yes, like you said, racism. There are different classes in the story, so it's like mirroring our reality, but in a fantasy world.
It's in the medieval
Um,
ages, guys. They're not progressive yet.
Fine.
so here in Dragon Age, you get or lose a relationship point through approval or disapproval. Depends on the choices you make on the dialogue tree and your major decisions. Like I said earlier, you can end up marrying him, or if you make wrong decisions or choices in the dialogues, he will break up with you. Unfortunately, I guess with most games that happens. And remember when I said he sides with the good? There's a part in the game that I forgot which exactly. It is a major point wherein if you choose to do the good, he will side with you. But if you choose to do the bad, that is a great disapproval from him. Like your
Ah,
relationship really go down the drain because that is a major no-no for him. So that's why I said earlier he is like lawful good. And
very lawful.
depending on your choices, there are different consequences and different possible endings. And as I say, I ain't got no time for that. So I will save first and look up the choices and what they will lead up to before going to the different choices and decision trees because I have no time to replay everything. I've just saved. And if I don't like one trajectory of the story, oh, no, let me go back and then I'll go to the other. And
Miss
when I
Eileen
find,
Miss Eileen plays RPGs the way that I read Choose Your Own Adventure books. I put my thumb at that page where a choice is made, and if I don't like where the choice is headed, I'm going back to that choice. But yes, go
Wait,
continue.
doesn't it have
all of
autosave?
that, all of that. I love that anecdote with the traditional role playing games because I
Oh yeah,
haven't really experienced RPGs, choose your own adventure books. That is a great, sounds like a great experience. I think that is a lovely trip down memory lane. I hope I could experience that. Maybe I'll look up something like that and experience saving in real time, for lack of a better word. So then I load up my last save until I get the story I like, and then yeah, that's it. I ain't got no time for that. So that's my first pick. Well, that's my main pick for tonight. It's Alistair Theron on from Dragon Age, and who would like to
Amazing
go,
pick.
or if you have any
Me, I'll follow you up since we're going on the trend of BioWare.
Oh yes, yes. Please go, Miss Inu.
So since you went for Dragon Age, I'm gonna go for Mass Effect.
Yes.
Ah, the character I'm about to I played as male ship.
Mm.
I wonder because there are more waifus than the husband, I think. But the character I'm about to mention is Garus how do
Ooh,
you Vakarian?
Vakarian.
I
Yes, I
forgot how
think
to pronounce his name. And he's one of the non-humans, the aliens in the game. What was his? I forgot what his race was. It's been so many years since I last played this. Turian. He's a Turian race. So um, normally when you first look at Mass Effect, the first characters that you normally would notice are the non-human ones. So I was curious because I kept seeing three of the non-human characters. We have the Garrus, we have Liara. I think she's the most famous one, blue alien, and then we have um, Tali, and not the one with the mask that I used on the waifu episode, the game. So Garrus. So I was curious about him because like okay, still humanoid, still acts like a humanoid. Although some parts of his physiology are different, like his foot here, just two toes, and for his hand, I believe three. So it's like a claw. So that's his hand. So when you first encounter him in the game, so you control Commander Shepard, and you're like special division agent, and you're hunting down a known vigilante, you would say. A vigilante that goes by the name of Archangel. And then, okay, I'm like, okay, let's. Now, I'm someone who normally plays just JRPGs, the turn based ones, and visual novels. So, but I got hooked instantly with Mass Effect, even though it's a first person shooter. So I'm like, I went into that mission. I'm like, okay, kill the other, the mobs in that place. And then I finally reached the end. Then I found out that the character that you're looking for or your specific target for that mission is Garrus. Now, there is, I'm like, oh, okay. So my first impression of him was that he looked so badass because he's a sniper. And I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, oh. And then when he started talking, his voice is so deep. Apologies, I'm not really familiar with the English side of voice actors, but I believe if there's anything that uh, both male and female fans of Mass Effect would agree on, it's gonna be that Garrus's voice, very sexy. And I actually have a friend who's also playing Mass Effect alongside me. I was playing as male shepherd. She was playing as female shepherd. And what's funny was that uh, the husbando that she picked for her female shepherd is Garrus. So me, since I can't marry Garrus, since is a male character and the male shepherd doesn't swing that way, uh, he can be treated as a best bro. And I think that's the good thing about like husbando. I think that there are some of the male gamers who will look at husbandos as like, ooh, that character is pretty cool. I want him to be my buddy, or I can use him as my role model. Um, yeah, he's such a great character. He grows on you. At first, of course, you're at odds at each other because the crew of Mass Effect is a ragtag team. So it's a small group of humans and other species, and of course, since you originally were trying to hunt him down, things that didn't go as smoothly in terms of like the team cooperation. And just like with I said earlier in the Dragon Age, your relationship with him as a friend slash potential lover would depend on the choices, since a lot of the Bioware games are known to have these morality systems wherein you pick the good answer, the bad answer, and then I believe there's neutral, but I'm not really sure if neutral amounts to anything. But yeah, he really became, for me, Commander Shepard's best bro slash best husband. Is just a total badass with a sexy voice. You can look past the alien, don't judge the cliche, don't judge a book by its cover. And his character development throughout all of the games is just spectacular. You're coming It's like you're starting from someone that you're supposed to kill, and then he ends up like being your best friend slash lover. I mean, that's a trope that's been tried and tested throughout the time. So yeah, that's my first pick for Husbando. Garrus Vakarian from Mass Effect series. Back to you, I.
I love that choice. And can I share a? I actually drew Garrus sometime in the
Oh
past
my,
because I am actually I used to be active in DeviantArt, and somebody asked me to draw him. It's actually just an outline, but I would say the torture of trying to draw him. I'm not sure how to share this, or do I
I think I
click
also
here?
drew him back then,
Oh,
but I don't
was it?
remember where it was.
How do I? Uh, Let me see if
You
I
still
can
have it
share.
with you?
Yes, I do. Let me see if
Nice.
I can. Can you see it there? There, I drew him like that because it was just an outline, an SD or super deformed outline. And my gosh, the torture of trying to draw all the details, and that's the best I could do. I hope he still
The
looks like
detail.
Garrus that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He is recognizable.
Recognizable, yes. And I hope I did him justice. And I actually have
Yeah.
Mass Effect in my backlog, and I want to try it as soon as I finish my other games. And that's like
Yeah.
in 10 years. In 10 years.
I think I finished Mass Effect when I was like in my third or fourth year in college. So that's the thesis part of college. And I just played like an hour a day, an hour a day, an hour a day. And I would say that each game, in my gameplay at least, was like 30 hours. So if you're someone who's used to like the first person shooter, or I don't remember if there's like a difficulty setting, you can easily finish the games maybe 22 30 hours tops. So it's a manageable series that you can finish.
So I would say with BioWare, you can't go wrong with their games. Well, at least some
No.
people think Dragon Age 2 is, sorry for the word, crap.
Divisive, very divisive.
Yes. And maybe, was it Mass Effect 3 that some people kind of dislike, I think. Not sure which sequel it was, but
I'm
yeah,
having flashbacks.
oh no, sorry for
But
that
yeah,
one. So thank you very much, Racino, for that. That's a lovely pick, Paris. And should we go for Sir Dan's video, or do we have a picture job?
I have a few. I have
Nice.
a few in mind.
How about let's go with yours?
Okay. Sir Dan is there in the chat joining us now. He says Garrus is one badass mofo, extremely well written character. Love that take on him, Miss I. He says. All right.
Thank you.
Me. Okay. Just like what we did with the gaming waifus, I said, okay, we can list down 10,
Yes.
mention and just mention the names in passing, and just have one main guy or one person as our as a main showcase. So in that note, I have a few prepared here. Um, Again, keeping things halal. All right. So we got Flynn and Yuri from Tales of Vesperia. Okay, and we got
Ah.
Cliff, Greg, and then Regal from. We got Cliff from Star Ocean 3. Greg from Wild Arms 5. Regal from Tales of Symphonia. Joey from Suikoden 2. Freador of Suikoden 5. And who else? Yeah. So 10 of them. And then my main guy would be I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Sitan of Xenogears? Sitan or Saitan of
I don't.
Xenogears. Now, why? So before I go with my main pick, all right. If I'm the type of person who would get who's easily get drunk, okay. If I'm a girl, who gets easily drunk, okay. And then if I'm gonna be taken down by people, right? If I'm gonna be taken by someone, I can go with Cliff, I can go with Regal, or I can go with I can go with Greg. Really muscular, buff guys can easily take me
Yeah,
down.
that's the common. That's the common thing I'm seeing right now.
I'm okay. Right? However, if I can get someone drunk and have my way with them, and totally be okay with it, I can I can have Joey or Freya.
Ah, I
Um,
get
if
it.
we're just drinking and some flirting, sure. I can either go with Crow from Crow from Tales of Cold Steel 3, or who's the other guy? Or Bart from Xenogears. You know, kind of cute, kind of flirtatious way. Sure, I'll try my chances. And then of course, so those are my guy. So in passing, but my main guy is Sitan from Xenogears. Why? Um, well, first of all, he's a dad and husband, so it's there. Okay. Throughout the course of Xenogears, he's basically the guiding light, quote unquote, for Faye as we move along through the motions. And for a good portion of Xenogears, especially disc one, okay, um, very good fighter, martial artist at first, okay, and then when it was revealed on who he really is, he's even more powerful than we could have ever imagined. So at the later stages, he's using his sword. Um, he's a lot more versatile with the sword, actually, compared to his taijutsu fighting style. Um, if you guys notice, to all of you guys who are watching right now, most of the guys that I have here have long hair,
Long hair and muscles.
long hair and muscles. Okay,
The
I have
biceps
a
and
thing.
triceps.
I have a thing for people. I have a thing for people with long hair. Just putting out there. Okay. um. So yeah.
Nothing wrong with
So
that.
Stephen guy. Very cool, collected, very mature character. During the Xenogears, during the Xenogears playthrough, he's basically the only. I'm not gonna say he's the only adult, but out of everyone in your party, out of everyone in your playable party, he's the most mature. If that makes sense,
Mm.
because out of everyone in your party, basically, it's either they're teenagers or before, not even their maybe their early 20s. He's the guy on his mid 30s, I guess, 30s or either mid 30s or late 30s, based on my observation. Hey, RV's here. Hey, bro, RV. Speaking of dads, we got RV here. One of our OG timeless gamer panelists.
Hi, RB.
Sup, brother? So yeah, those are my picks. So back to you guys.
Nice picks there, Sir Joe. And I like that there's quite a variety over there. And I see what you were saying earlier about the characters being relatable. Sorry. I'm sorry.
There's a part there's a method to my madness on why I picked the guys.
I really like how you expressed them with, like I said earlier, they're relatable. Some of them are actually husbands, and like Miss Hino said earlier, your picks tend to be muscular, and as you said, they have long hair, and I respect that. That's a really good choice over there, and
As a
those are
Nurico enjoyer, I understand.
right. Miss Hino knows; she understands. I know Sir Joel doesn't have any picks, but what can you say so far about our choices, or anything you can say about the topic so far, Sir Joel?
Well, I mean, it does showcase the games that how I guess the right word for it is how diverse the genres are, and how well written the characters are that you guys have presented so far in terms of storytelling. It's not. I grew up during the '80s when video gaming was just little square dots moving across the screen, and it's being bounced around by a flat thing, pong. But seeing how deep these characterizations are with these characters that you guys are presenting, it just blows my mind as to how much of an amazing entertainment medium video games are compared to movies or television shows. It's just so amazing how these characters can be such well written characters, and they can be made to do the things that uh, people in movies or television can't be made to do. You can have them do things to what you think they should be doing rather than just be along for the ride. And it constantly amazes me the way that these characters are being presented. And honestly, the choices that you guys have given, I'm interested in checking them out. I mean, I have played Mass Effect, I have played Dragon Age. Jaws choices of JRPGs, I do recognize some of them, but I do see a lot of them that I have seen in the past. I just never had the time to go through them. And Jaws' endorsement of how well written they are and how interesting of a character they are makes me want to go back and check them out and play them. So that's my take on it. I may not be able to relate directly to the topic, but with the number of interesting games that I see keep popping up, it's still a treat for me. So I thank Miss Eileen for bringing up this topic.
And
I
thank
want
you
to
so
piggyback off what Joel said earlier about there's something special about the characters that we encounter in video games. People do not give credit enough to video games because they see it as like for kids, for nerds, for geeks.
For
But in
guys.
fact, it's up for guys. It's a it's a billion-dollar industry, and what's special about this medium is that you do not only watch, read, listen to what is being shown on screen. You get to have these experiences. You basically live in the shoes of whoever character you're controlling, and it makes things much more personal. So you, there's a reason why there's this people have addiction to games, but I don't think I've ever heard of someone who's addicted to movies. Not in that, if you compare it to the scale of addiction of the gamers. The movie buffs, okay, they'll watch that movie every year at this particular date or collect memorabilia. But I think that's it. Uh, every I don't know. I like it. I like the video game medium, and I hope that in the future we get more characters. Jobel said we've come a long way from pixels, blocks, and whatnot, and now we have fully fleshed out characters, which I think is amazing.
That's a really nice take there, Miss Inu. And it's quite sad that people look down on video games and think it's just silly pastime. But then it's quite comparable to people spending time watching movies, TV series. It's actually the same, but in a different format. So I hope people realize that video games aren't a waste of time. It's also a different form of recreation, and it's also a lived experience of some sort because you live through the shoes of the characters you play. Thank you very much for that. And thank you, Sir Joel, for the input on the topic for tonight. And you have, Sir Joel, the video of Sir Dan.
All right. We'll do a quick ad break and then we'll proceed with Sir Dan. Alrighty. Let's hear it from Streamyard and BitMap. Do you like playing video games? Do you like reading about history? Do you like learning about video game history? Then you should give yourself the gift of owning some video game history books from BitMap. Since 2014, BitMap Books have published numerous colorful and well-detailed hardbound books about video games ranging from the different video game consoles of old and the various video game genres that will surely pique the interest of its core fanbase. BitMap's team of global video game journalists, players, and illustrators have produced numerous award-winning titles that celebrate the software, hardware, and developers that laid down the foundations for the billion-dollar video game industry we all know and love today. International shipping is also available with careful and considerate packaging from BitMap Books. If you don't want to take my word for it, then you can believe the people, almost 10,000 satisfied customers who submitted their glowing written reviews and video reviews after receiving their books from BitMap. By ordering your first BitMap book using our link, you will also be supporting the Timeless Gamers Show in spreading our love of video games and their rich history. Start your own online live streams, webinars, podcasts, online classes, and virtual presentations with Streamyard. By using Streamyard's user-friendly interface, you can also do simultaneous multi-streaming if you have accounts to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms. If live streaming is not your style, video and audio recordings are also available, especially with those who have variable and inconsistent internet connections. The finished output will still come out as clear and well articulated exactly as you originally intended. You can also customize the appearance of your presentation, like green screen effects, facial touch-ups to smoothen out those facial blemishes, multiple cameras for multiple guests joining in the discussion, your own wallpaper on the background, adding your own logo as a watermark, sharing videos from your own computer or other website for added visual aids with or without audio, uploading your own background music if you wish to set the mood when talking, and lots more. Before you can enjoy all of the wonderful full features of StreamYard, You can start with a 14-day free trial by using our link. Not only that you are supporting the Timeless Gamer Show, but you can see it for yourself how easy it is using Streamyard.
Hello, Timeless Gamer crew. We're talking HUSBANDOs. Okay, now as a fully straight heterosexual male, the marriage and sexually attractive side of things isn't really in my thinking. So these are my picks for like what I see as bros, really. You know, top lads who, if they were real, you'd like to be mates with. Okay, my number one pick, probably because I've recently replayed it again, is gonna be Goro Majima from the Yakuza series. Now, in the later games, Goro Majima he's lost his mind a bit. He's a bit crazy, and he's not really all with it. He's kind of got, you know, the events of the earlier games have sent him a bit lunatic. But in Yakuza 0, he's a real cool bro. It really is. It really is. He's got the perfect balance of kind of fun, crazy, loyal, dedicated, caring, but badass. He just is just a real sound, wild dude. And even though Kiryu is like, you know, he's the main hero of the series, for me, actually, I when I played Yakuza 0, Goro kind of Majima he just took the kind of spotlight for me, because he has a kind of mentality that is honourable, but is ruthless, but is also very caring, and it's just that balance that works really well. And if you've played Yakuza 0, I'm not going to go into spoilers for it. We've got the Yakuza series obviously coming up pretty soon, and I think a lot of people are going to be playing through these games. I don't want to throw any spoilers out there, but basically, Goro's arc is it's very emotional. It's very emotional, and how he ends the game is very touching. And like a true bro, it does things. It does things in a very honourable, good way, really. So Goro's number one for me at this moment in time. I will also give a few honourable mentions as well. We'll throw in Rune Walsh of Phantasy Star 4. Now, it's a 16-bit JRPG, so you don't get that much depth, but you get enough. And what Rune is basically Han Solo meets Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's badass as anything. And it's really well written. He's a really cool, iconic character. You know, when I were a kid, and I wanted to be Rune. Who didn't want to be Rune? Because he's not only is he a real powerful character mechanically, you know, he can use magic, and you know, when you meet him, he's head and shoulders above everybody else in the squad. But he's really cocky, and in a fun way. You know, he's a real Han Solo. He's got some real banter going off with Chaz, who's the main protagonist. It's a very Luke and Han thing that they've got going between them, and but he's also very strong with his leadership, and he uses the word fart at least 3 times I can think of in Phantasy Star 4, and you know, not many games use. I don't think games use the word fart enough. So Rune is really, he really broke some groundbreaking boundaries down there in gaming with his fart use there for sure. So he's my number 2, and my last pick is somebody who's pretty much fills the same role actually. And that's Auron from Final Fantasy X. Pretty much what Final Fantasy did. For those of you, who don't, who haven't played all the old Phantasy Star games, Phantasy Star kind of copied Star Wars and that hero's journey. Star Wars has copied many hero journeys before, and Final Fantasy essentially copied Phantasy Star 4. It took what Phantasy Star had evolved the hero's journey into. Final Fantasy copied that. So that's the problem I always have with a lot of Final Fantasy games. When people love them, I kind of think, I can only love them so much because they're all just Fantasy Star copies, really. And an Auron is basically Rune in Final Fantasy X is a bit old. Well, the beauty that we get with Rune is we get to see him as a young Rune and a old Rune, and that works incredibly well because he's still the same guy, but you definitely see a big evolution, and he's an extremely loyal and dedicated person who's focused on the job in hand, and he's more than prepared to die for the task in hand and for the people that is with, and is really protective, caring, and real good father figure. That type of a person. So he's my last honourable mention. So hope you all have a great day, and I enjoyed seeing what all your husbandos bros picks are. See you later. Keep it timeless.
On underpass, going back towards backbeat.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you for that.
From
So,
Dan.
Goro from the Yakuza series,
Mhm.
Rune from Fantasy Star 4,
Mhm.
and Auron from Final Fantasy X.
Of course!
And just like Sir RV mentioned here, he agrees with that. Auron's story from Final Fantasy X, his character development is so badass, and you can learn a thing or two based on his experience. And according to Zidane Tribal here, Auron's shaved armpit, of course. The less hair you got there, it makes you less smelly, apparently. Hygiene, guys, it's very important. There's always this edgy Final Fantasy character in your party. Always has been already. So, any comments on those characters, guys?
I mean, Goro Majima is a solid choice. Jo, you are going to be in for a treat with your playthrough of Yakuza Zero very soon. I think you're going to
Yes.
enjoy that game so much, and I wouldn't be surprised if you go on the same trajectory I did, where you start off with. I started off with 1, went back to 0, and then went forward with the rest of it. You're going to start off with 0, continue with the rest of it. So I think you're going to enjoy yourself immensely throughout your entire playthrough. Goro Majima is going to be there with you, and he's going to be everywhere. Trust me on that one.
Everywhere.
Mhm.
In regarding with his in his secondary choice, Rune, because I played Final Fantasy Star 4 not so recently, and I think one of the main reasons why Rune gets mentioned quite a lot in the Fantasy Star communities, because in comparison to Chaz, the main character, Chaz, the main character, falls to that trope, anyway, where the main character is so bland that anybody else who has a bombastic personality outshines the guy. And Rune is one of them, actually. So Sir Dan is right. He acts more of a Han Solo character. That's why we tend to gravitate around Han Solo than Luke, because Luke's personality at first, but being introduced to someone who is who acts like larger than life, does not take no for an answer, does not give
Someone
anybody
who
an in,
completed the castle run
right?
in how many parsecs was that? I forgot.
How many parsecs is that? But so with Rune, so with Rune being introduced to your party right off the bat, he's talking smack, he's talking shit, especially against Chaz, and I'm like, when I played that, and I'm like, what did I do about what did I do? But I'm playing so because you're Chaz, right? And for some reason, Rune is talking shit, and you're like, what did we do? I mean, we just met you like 2 seconds ago. What are you being? Why are you acting like this? But anyways, you just have to play the game to understand why he's acting like that. anyways, out of the three, uh, male characters that Dan mentioned, I, I know Rune the best. Oron, I know he's a badass. He has the shades, of course. That's an automatic badass for me. With Goro, when I was doing the video package for Sir Dan, I'm looking for some videos and some pics about Goro Majuma, and I'm like, first impression, uh, what's the best word that I can describe Goro? Um, Amusingly insane. Amusingly, my first impression. Okay, but I haven't played the games yet. But who knows? I might change my mind about that guy.
You're going to find a surprising depth in his character, Joe. I think you're gonna enjoy it.
I'm actually
Uh,
curious if he's gonna be in the Yakuza series. Makes me
He
wonder
has,
because I haven't played Like a Dragon.
he has to be.
Yeah.
This is. I think the Yakuza series is going to be based on Zero. I think so. Maybe not. We'll see.
Goro
Hopefully.
Goro encapsulates everything what the precognition of a Yakuza member is. Just look at those body tattoos. Like,
Yeah.
ain't no way you're not gonna think, what an innocent guy. Hopefully, certainly he's not a part of a gang or something.
And a little bit of trivia in the original English translation, of Yakuza, for the U.S. version, or the Western version anyway. He was voiced by Mark Hamill, if I remember correctly.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Wow.
Mhm. Just putting it out there. Anyway, continue, Miss Eileen.
Also, I want to put it out there that was actually an old Yakuza movie back in 2007, and there was a Goro character there, and it was portrayed, I would say, not exactly, but really, really close to the character.
I have to see
It's
that.
amazing.
Actually, I saw it recently. I saw the trailer for it recently, but I haven't had the chance to see the whole movie. I'll have to track it down sometime.
Same. I think it's available online easily. I hope so. So if anybody's interested, go watch that as well. And I have to say, with Sir Dan's picks, with Rune, I would say, impressed that even old 2D characters already have much personality, because you can't just say modern characters are what makes Husbando material. Even the 2D all text characters, we can already feel their vibes just from how well they're written.
I mean,
And
there's a
then
scenario writer, story writer, so there's gotta be some plan or image on their heads, like how we need to differentiate this character from said other character. Since they're pixels,
yes,
we need to give them personality so that they could stand on their own.
indeed, and that's good writing there. And as well for Auron, so just said earlier, badass with the shades. And another badass thing is, I guess with his coat, with his arm just in there, and then when he is gonna attack, he
You know what?
takes a
Oron would be the best person to be in the Yakuza series. If I don't know anybody of those guys, I'd say Oron might be in the Yakuza as well. He dresses like a Yakuza member too.
True.
yeah. So those were Sir Dan's picks, and I'm glad he's also made some choices based on the characters and the personalities, not necessarily being infatuated with them, but their characters
Not
themselves.
by the appearance,
Yeah,
not by the pecs, not by the muscular, not by the biceps, not by the abs.
not the physical attributes. That's a plus.
Not
Um,
because of the physical.
yeah, not the physical.
It's
And
it's what inside counts.
true. That is true. It's the inside that counts. And I guess we're gonna have to go to our honorable mentions. But Sergio, could we play the Astarian video I sent earlier?
Um,
Or are we gonna be flagged with that?
yeah, we can. Um, what is that?
Um, it's the one with Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3, because it was the viral video of him with the amazingly skillful portrayal of the actor. The actor actually won an award for his portrayal of Astarion. Maybe we could save that for later. Or
Astarion
the
build guide. Is that the
yes.
one? Okay, I got it. I think I got it here. So, what about Astarion?
Oh, I think it's the where is it? It's the one where the video says when voice actors get paid. Or
Oh,
maybe we
the
can
voice
save.
actor.
Do you think
Oh,
we can
yeah,
save it
yeah,
for
yeah.
later?
Yeah, just go ahead. Talk about just continue talking about Astarion.
Okay, so for my honorable mentions, first is Astarion. First of all, I haven't actually played the game, but if you have seen the viral video of him entitled "When Voice Actors Get Paid," it was really, I would say, there. That's it. He was portrayed very well by the voice actor Neil Newbon. He actually won an award for this one because he really fleshed out the character really well. He knows his character, and let's say his voice work is really emphatic and I would say really almost realistic. I would say so. Astarion is a sexy vampire, and he has the I would say most natural acting ever. I haven't played the game as I said, and he is I would say the most recognizable character from Baldur's Gate 3. And I would like to play the game just for him in the future.
I think he's the sole reason why a lot of people played the game in the first place, especially for non-Baldur's Gate
True. I actually have only played Baldur's Gate 1, but maybe I could jump to 3 just because of him.
fans.
Let's keep 1 and 2. I did start in there.
Well, if I remember correctly, I did read that Baldur's Gate 3 is not directly connected to 1 and 2, so you can play it standalone. But you will be missing out on a lot, Miss Eileen. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are some of the finest CRPG games of the past quarter century. So trust me, if you want
I
a
want to
good
play.
experience, gameplay, RPG, computer RPG, Western RPG, sorry, Joe, this is not going to be up your alley. Um,
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate, the series. If you want to start off from one, the Tales of the Sword Coast, all the way until the Shadows of Om and the Throne of Baal, you are gonna have a grand time building up your character from the beginning all the way to the very end. It's connected, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. So you RPG fans, check out Baldur's Gate. That's my recommendation, and I know Dan is going to agree with me on that one. But
Yes.
Eileen, I think you should give it a try. It starts off slow, but trust me, once you get into it, you're going to have a lot of fun. Baldur's Gate 3, once you get into that too, I'm sure you're going to have fun. I myself haven't played it. I'm looking forward to playing it once it goes on sale. You know us; we always go for
Yeah.
the cheap, for the cheap sales and everything. We'll wait a couple of years, and the nice thing about waiting for a couple of years is that you get the entire game for cheap with all the DLCs. So that's
True.
another plus for that.
Good
Anyway,
point.
back to you, Miss Eileen.
True. And I have played Baldur's Gate 1 but haven't progressed. But I agree with Sir Joel that the gameplay is really nice with the features and the top-down approach. Building your characters, and they already have their personalities despite the age of the game. It's really a really must play for I would say not only RPG fans but any player. And I hope
Fantasy fan.
And you should
True.
check out Joe's recommendations on his videos. For those of you on the audio portion, you won't be able to see this, but we'll try to we'll try to post a screenshot. The recommendations on his YouTube videos at the very end, all of them are RPGs and everything, and then just one panel shows Ranma. Anyway, continue.
So my next honorable mention is Vito Scaletta, the guy. This one on
From Mafia 2. Yeah.
Mafia 2. I would say he is for me the most handsome video game character. I would say he's got the matinee eye look, and he looks like the actor Enver Gyoka. If anybody's familiar with him, he plays Daniel Souza in Agent Carter in the MCU. Vito Scaletta, you can see his rise from the bottom to the top of the not really the top, but up the ranks in the mafia ladder. He is apparently based off the real life mafia Henry Hill, which was also the basis for Goodfellas, the one which Ray Liotta plays. You can see from the movie parallels in their, not exact parallels, but the rise to the top aspect of their stories. In Mafia 2, you see Vito as a young and upcoming Mafia member, and he gets to become a made man, which means a fully initiated member of the Mafia family. And my next pick is, I guess, and everybody recognizes Solid Snake. I would say I prefer the Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2 version, the younger version. He's a very masculine character with a nice booty. So, he's cool and badass, and he can take down massive enemies. Of course, there's a huge Metal Gear, and he can just take down the entire thing on his own. And just like Astarion, Solid Snake is or has a good voice work by David Hayter, and I'm sad that he was later replaced by Kiefer Sutherland. No offense to him, but I grew up with David Hayter, so go David. And of course, Solid Snake is. If you played the games, you can see his personality from the dialogues he was given, not only in these cutscenes, but even in the classic, what you call this, even just the text and the dialogue. I feel that being a Metal Gear Solid fan, I forgot how you call that one, where they're in the communication thingy with the frequencies. Even from that alone, you can see his personality from there. And sorry, moving too fast. And my next pick is Anders from Dragon Age 2. If Alistair was from Dragon Age 1, Anders is from Dragon Age 2, and he is a mage that can also wield swords, so that's a plus. Not only does he attack effectively and do melee attacks, but he is also able to do healing and attack magic. So imagine that you have a warrior and a mage in one. He has a complex character and background, and what I relate to him is he loves cats. I'm a cat person. He has a spot for them, and in the game, when he sees cats, he would Google over them, oh, cat, something like that. So Anders is really a cat person. And unlike Alistair, you can romance Anders as either a male or female main characters. That's a plus for players. It's not limited to female main characters. And sorry, moving to fast again. Zell from Final Fantasy VIII. He's supposed to be in this picture, but he did not make the cut. Sorry, Zell. He's somewhere down there in the entire picture. So maybe people choose Squall usually, but it's Zell for me because he's pretty cool and funny. And if you remember
Hot
that, in the banquets, yes, he does. He was choking. I remember the scene. He was choking on food, and he was like, was it Twisted and Selfie that was trying to, not Heimlich, but trying to take the food out of him, and he goes berserk like, yeah, he's attacking everyone, and even the camera, which is Irvine holding it. That was incredibly funny. And I was on the fence on choosing Nico Bellic. I guess you can see him over here above my screen name is in Porter. I guess this is an odd choice because let's say he's not exactly boy next door, but the opposite with his look. I don't know how to describe it, but he is a masculine character. Bad boy. Yeah. That is a great description for him. He's a bad boy and rugged type. And in the game, it's nice to see his softer side, and the accent is a plus. And interestingly, he isn't portrayed by an East European actor, but an American actor, actually, Michael Hollick. And that's about my honorable mentions for tonight.
I'd like to think that Miss Eileen's choice of Vito Scarletta was partially influenced by my playthrough of Mafia that she was watching all the way to the very end. You know,
I was actually playing that Mafia 2 a few years ago, and I couldn't stop but take lots of screenshots because his face is so defined, and oh, he's so handsome.
Well, there
I
you
have
go.
like
That's
100
And
screenshots.
I'd like to think that I was that Miss Eileen's watching my recent playthrough of Mafia One kind of revived her interest in Vita Scarletta. But yes, I think you'll find. Well, I'm planning on streaming Mafia Two sometime soon, Miss Eileen. So open invitation to not just you but to everybody who wants to watch a playthrough of Mafia Two and hopefully three sometime soon. Also, spoiler alert, Miss Eileen. Vito makes a return in Mafia 3. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue. Mhm.
him and he's not as handsome.
Still, it's him, you know.
Yes, it's him.
Anyway,
I've
Miss
seen
Hino,
some.
what's your input?
Yes.
It's such a wide variety of characters, and what's interesting is that all of us have our own gaming preferences. So it's interesting to see that, like, me and Joe are on the JRPG side, and I can see from I's pick of games that a lot are leaning to the Western side of the game developers. So it's refreshing for me, actually, since a lot of people in my circles are also from the JRPG uh fan side. So, and I'm used to seeing the anime characters, the anime models. So right now we're seeing like the more realistic, the more what's actually closer to real life. And I really think that's interesting because not everyone looks like a pretty boy from JRPG. We have rugged people, we have people who look suave, we have the boy next door, and we have some the bad boys. So I like that she has a lot of variety in her honorable mentions. Back to you guys.
And yeah, honestly, Miss Hino, you might benefit from checking out all these games that Miss Eileen are recommending. Sure, I know
True.
that your forte is JRPGs, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody loves JRPGs. I myself play JRPGs, but checking out all these other RPGs from the West, you'd be surprised at how well developed the characters are, how interesting the scenarios that they get into are, and how different in terms of imaginative circumstances they can get into. So yeah, I'd say give it a shot. For the
Yeah, I
audience,
mean,
if you're weaned on JRPGs, you might want to check out Western RPGs. They're really good too.
I wouldn't say that it would be a stretch
Mm.
for me to not touch the Western side of RPGs, because two of my favorite genres is fantasy and mystery. Fantasy could go both ways, the JRPG side or the Western side. I'm a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire. So I want to play Dragon Age, I want to play Baldur's Gate, and so many games. I miss the Western side. Sometimes when I play too much JRPG, I miss like the freedom of Skyrim, and the open worldness of it all. So yeah, I look forward to, especially I want to play something different like Mafia. You guys kept on mentioning Mafia. I want to play Mafia. And I also want to play LA Noir because, the crime, the gritty side, although it's on the more real life
Mhm.
um, landscape.
No, the thing about it is, like I said, here in Timeless Gamer Show, we are one of our main tenets is we open up the idea of gaming to not just your forte, but also the untried parts too. So it's not really the fact that we want to make sure. Oh, we have something from Dan here. Miss Hino, have you played Baldur's Gate 2? It has some awesome characters, some great romances too. There you go. I agree with
I want to
Dan
play.
on that one. Yeah, we try to open up people's views, not just on what they already know, but also the things that they never had the chance to see. That's why we were with here in Thomas Gamer Show. We try to go off the beaten path. We go to Virage's choices, the Sega Genesis parts, the ones that we Filipinos never really grew up with, and everything. We also
Yeah.
check out other alternative platforms like Atari, Commodore. We do all these other platforms that Filipinos really aren't all that well versed in, and
Yeah.
that's why we do our very best in terms of showing people what else there is outside. So I guess in a way you can say that diversity is one of our strengths here in Timeless Gamers. Yeah, so all
True.
right, just putting that out there.
Well
All right.
said.
So has Miss Hino given her secondary choices yet though?
No, not yet. For my honorable mentions, I want to start with my childhood crushes. I'm having that disclaimer because these characters don't grow older, and I'm friggin' old now. It's been years. They're from the PS1 era, but I still love them dearly. First up, we have Mega Man Volnut from the Mega Man Legends games. The extent of my knowledge for the Mega Man series as a whole is more on Legends side because it's more of an RPG compared to the side-scrolling classic Mega Man and X series, and maybe a bit of the Rockman XA, the one with the card game. So he's such a fun character. I mean, he's an amnesiac boy. Roll found him, and he's taking on little quests to be like a certified digger. You look for like the gems or the refractors, and you just make your way up. You get more experience. You explore more dangerous ruins, more obscure ones. You take exams to level up your license as a digger, and it's just plain old fun. It's wholesome, but he's a bit more on the dense side of things. He doesn't know that he's a lady killer, so we have Roll on one side, we have Tron on the other side, and we have some other characters down the line. So, and the reason why I like him is because his defining feature versus the other iterations of Mega Man is because he doesn't wear the helmet as much. So I think that's a pretty cool design choice for them. So one of my childhood loves, Mega Man Walnut, and of course from my favorite game of all time, Chrono Cross, we have the silent protagonist, Surge. If you're gonna read his bio on the menu, it really just says they're silent protagonist. Like no joke, but
Yes.
what I love his character design. It's something refreshing. Since Chrono Cross is more of like a tropical island setting versus the medieval backdrops or like the real world backdrops from other games, this is really just so refreshing. And I like characters wearing the bandanas. I have another favorite character from the Get Backers anime, Makubexo, also is wearing a bandana. And uh, even though he doesn't speak a single line of dialogue and he only communicates via the choices, uh, you can still see some of his character by just how he acts. He acts so innocent, he acts so free spirited, but you also see that he has this inner turmoil because part of the plot of Chrono Cross is that he suddenly got transported to a parallel world wherein he died when he was young. I think he drowned
Spoilers.
in this parallel world. It's at the start.
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
yeah, so
He dies at the very beginning of the game.
but yeah, I love him. I just adore the Nobuteru Yuki, the character artist for Chrono Cross, and of course honorable mention. I think a lot of female fans of actually a lot of he's also popular for the male gamers. We have Glenn, total badass, but out of all of my playthroughs for Chrono Cross, I never got him as a party member because you need to refuse to have kid, main girl, join the party. So it's like Kid or Glenn, Kid or Glenn. Why can't I have them both in my party? I need them both. But yeah, I'm so weak against Kid, top waifu. So sorry, Glenn, but yeah, total badass.
In
One
terms
of like the
of
most
uh, in terms of
what?
functionality, people would go with Glenn.
Yeah, totally OP. That's why people, go for Glenn. And as I mentioned on the waifu episodes, others are, kind of annoyed with kids' attitude and manner of talking. So that's an easy pick for them. For me, I want them both. So yeah. What else? Everybody mentioned it earlier. The Fire Emblem games. So Dan, stop it. You're starting the thing again on the comments. I'm reading that. Yeah, so we have the DS Fire Emblem titles. We have the older Game Boy titles, and we also have like the more recent Switch titles. Plenty of husbandos to go through. For Fire Emblem Awakening, of course, Chrome is the main husband. When I first played this, I think this is my first Fire. No, Fates is my first Fire Emblem. So I was looking forward to playing Awakening. And at first, I was kind of like on the fence with Chrome, but good character development overall. For Fire Emblem Fates, there's two sets of siblings. You have like the oldest brother, the second oldest brother. You have the oldest sister. And take your pick. Take your pick. I ended up choosing for my husband the two angsty douches from each side. So there's that. So Fire Emblem. What else? Of course, uh, another bisexual haven for people. The Suikoden games. So many husbando slash waifu, but just like what Joe said earlier, childhood crush would have to be one of them would be uh Joey from Suikoden 2. But my ultimate favorite character, male character so far for Suikoden is Flit. I don't have a picture for him, but he's one of the companions on both Suikoden 1 and 2, along with Victor. I think they're like on the first game, they were like the bodyguards of the main character of your McDowell. And they also appear in Suikoden 2, and they serve as like the senpai or the seniors who teach the new heroes on their journey. So Suikoden, many husbando, and again disclaimer, they do not
Aegis Rim.
so many good characters. Bisexual Haven. Of course, I love the bad boy. I love me bad boy. I want to throw something, goofy in the mix. Lego City. The main character, like the cop, what's his name? Chase McCain. It looks like a really cool dude, like the Han Solo type. He has that swag. He's confident, and you're just chasing bad guys. And I'm like,
Miss
he's
Eileen,
really the reason why.
something for us to play because Miss Eileen and I have started off on the Lego a Lego game, and I think I have Lego City in my library. So
Open world. This is such a fun game. If you would like a downtime in between the more serious or the longer games, this is fun. I mean,
we're definitely
use
gonna have to
any
do
vehicle,
a Lego games episode here in Timeless Gamer Show.
build
This one looks like it's
whatever.
gonna be a lot of fun.
It's super fun, and you can also disguise yourself. You want to be a girl instead of looking like Chase. Yeah, you can do that. Of course, for Final Fantasy side, I will die on this hill. To me, Squall is like the best looking male Final Fantasy character, and Rinoa is the best um, female Final Fantasy character.
Oh,
But
Joe is about to put his protest in. Okay,
but
let the two
I
JRPG people fight. Okay, go ahead.
I don't have fun. Cloud, my boy, and Tifa, of course, my wife. Why can't I just have them all? Of
Go
course,
ahead,
Cloud.
Joe. Put in your 2 cents. Go ahead.
No, no,
Go.
no.
Fine. Here we go again.
I'll let her, I will let her die on that hill
No, I mean,
alone.
from a normie's point of view, Final Fantasy VIII was built to be a love story from the ground up.
Yep.
It is.
If you ask me,
It is.
and that's
It is.
basically the central premise of it. So it
Yeah.
stands to reason that they have the most attractive couple in the entire series in that game. So I would agree with it. But then again, some people who are also experts in JRPGs might have a different opinion. So Joe, go ahead.
I mean, between Cloud and Squall, I can understand the gravitation towards Squall. I look at both characters in terms of baggage. Who has the most baggage? Whoever has the most baggage, that means he's the most toxic. Because if we're talking about husbandos here, so by definition, you won't mind having them as your husband. And if your
Yep.
husband has so many baggage, has so many emotional issues, okay, then that means you have to be you'll be have the one you'll be you'll be the one to carry
The
most of the
walking red
slack,
flags.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
between Cloud and Squall,
Cool.
I would go with
Yeah.
Squall too. In because during the development of the game, at least Squall had this. He started as an emo kid, eventually
Yeah.
tends to open up a little bit more and more and more. Looking at the other side with Cloud, all throughout the game, all the way
In
to Advent
Lululand.
Children, even right?
Yeah.
It just never lets up. I mean, yeah, sure. The game tosses out some wholesome romantic tidbits here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, between the two, in terms of character development, in terms of aesthetic wise, I mean, both of them are skinny, really. And no muscles there. I mean,
Yep.
how the hell can Cloud basically swing that bastard sword? I mean, is that even made out of aluminum? Is that really so light to swing around? I'm just nitpicking, guys, of course. In terms in terms of of love interest, they're both dumb. Why?
True.
Squall could have gone with Quistis. Sensei route, guys. Why is this so difficult to some people? And then Cloud could have hit Tifa, but chose not to. Hmm. Go on ahead.
No,
That's
you're
my
right.
rant.
No, right. Yeah,
That
yeah,
that's
yeah.
my Final Fantasy 7 8 versus 8 rant.
Completely agree with you. We're not gonna fight just like on the waifu episode. uh, Last, I guess, is friggin' Godfrey from Elden
God,
Ring. He is the first Elden Lord.
That's wonderful.
He's just so cool. I never buy steelbooks. When I saw the steelbook for Elden Ring that showcases this art, I bought it. And when I saw that a framed official picture from Bandai Namco would be coming along the collector's edition of the art books, I got it. He's so cool. I mean, in the world of Elden Ring, what's ruling the whole lands between are basically gods. Godfrey, he's a mere mortal. Actually, he was more of like a savage, just a warrior, just a chieftain, a simple chieftain. But the goddess Marika had interest in him and appointed him as her lord. So he conquered the whole lands because before there was no clear leader of the whole lands between. So he had that campaign. He fought against giants. He's just a mere mortal. So it's insane to me when I found out that tidbit because I was so used to confronting the gods, the demigods in the game. But when I finally got to encounter him in the game, I was like, the respect just went up so high. And he, to me, he is one of the few honorable characters in the game. He is one of the few that would uh, give your character the tarnish, the respect. He respects all of the hard work that you went through to arrive at his stage to fight him. And I think that's such a cool tidbit. Maybe it's because he's also mortal, just like our tarnish. The other demigods won't care about you if you defeat them. They're just gonna keep on ranting like, "Oh, my dynasty," or like, "No, I'm the lord of all that is golden." But him, what he says to you, your strength befits a crown or something like that. I'm blanking out right now, but yeah, he gives you that respect, and I think he's just an overall really cool character. So yeah, someone different, someone on the more grungy look, but yeah, total badass. Fights against the gods when he's just a mere mortal. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for my honorable mentions. Back to you, I.
Thank you, Messino. Those are really amazing picks. And I love that you have depth in your choices, not only the physical, but even the personalities, their backgrounds, and their appeals. I really love that from your choices and how you made your picks. Um, I really like, even though, let's say, it's not just JRPGs, you also have, well, there's Elden Ring, and I really find it funny
Lego.
that the Lego, but that is also very creative, and I think I would love to try that game, especially that it's open world. And I love
Please
that you
do.
chose the pretty boys in Final Fantasy, and I chose the dork.
I mean, we balanced out the pool of husbando for this episode.
Yes, it's a really good balance right there. I really thank you for those honorable mentions. Sergio, do you have any opinions or input on Miss Hina's choices apart from that rant earlier?
No, I mean, just okay. If I'm gonna add something regarding Chrono Cross, okay,
Mm,
because I played Chrono Cross first before I played Trigger, and
same.
then I realized Glenn was Frog in Chrono Trigger. Glenn in Chrono Cross is Frog in Chrono Trigger before he got turned into a frog. Not like so. Is are they just so are they preferring Glenn as the original frog, or this is just in another dimension Glenn?
I think as of the
I
moment,
think it's just another dimension Glenn because it can't
people are
be
still, yeah.
it can be the same as frog, right?
But
Um
since they're both very popular characters and well loved by both communities, I mean,
yeah,
it's safe to assume that they're like the same person, maybe just different
I
versions of
I
each other.
I would push back on that because if that's the case, then everybody else on the Chrono Trigger cast should be in there as well. Glenn is the only one, and even if
Maybe
and
this
even
is his
if
world.
even if we go with Merle and Chrono, they were only
Mhm.
referenced as kids, and uh, they were referenced as kids, but they're I'm not, I want to say dead.
Force, force ghost, force ghost.
They're force ghosts, basically, and they're right. And Glenn's the only one there. Yeah. So
See, this is the reason why we need another Chrono game
yeah.
because we're left
Them
to
try, it's just
speculation.
that Squaresoft trying to shoehorn Chrono Trigger in any way just to make Chrono Cross
Oh boy, here we go, here we go.
sequel by itself. But I digress. I'm not jumping the gun about Chrono Trigger again. We always go to Chrono Trigger, guys. While I'm here, might as well. Okay, if I'm going to expand on a few husbandos that I picked. All right, but for my but for my honorable mentions, okay, I would go with with these two. It's a tie, really. So I got Flynn and Yuri of Tales of Vesperia. Why? Oh, sorry. So why is that? Big aesthetics aside, it's more about their philosophy in life, really. Yuri thinks that evil in society must be dealt with permanently.
Mm.
With Flynn, he believes that for evil to change, you must change it from the inside of the system. If there's evil
Ooh,
in society, you need to change it from the inside. That's what he believes. So even if they are even though they are clashing in philosophy, but they're still best friends. Really, they just with different approach
mm,
on how to deal with bad guys. Okay,
mm,
there's one instance in Tales of Vesperia. There's this corrupt politician, and Flynn says, "Let the authorities deal with him," but knowing the authorities are
mm,
corrupt as well, there's a good chance that this corrupt politician will get off easy. So what did
mm.
Yuri do? What Yuri did in the middle of the night, he dealt with that guy,
Vigilante.
vigilante style, Batman style, right? Oh, not Batman,
Mm.
Punisher style, Punisher
Ah,
justice, right? So if I'm gonna say, oh, are they both husband material? In a way, depends on where your justice lies, really. If I'm gonna say Yuri, that means I'm dealing with a criminal here. Him him dispatching that corrupt politician makes him a criminal as well.
you know
But
what?
then
You're right.
again,
Oh my God.
right?
Holy
But then
shit.
again,
Yeah.
if I go with Flynn, then I'll be dealing with with his naive sense of justice too. If that makes sense.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's interesting because I was
Maybe I'm
about
just
to
that
ask
jaded that way.
if
Yeah.
because you mentioned one was like naive. I was under the impression that one is idealistic, the
Yeah.
other one is realistic.
Yeah.
But they can
Flynn,
have
the blonde guy,
those
is
traits.
idealistic. Yeah, and Yuri's just a realist. Yes.
Interesting,
Um.
interesting. So I need to add that along with Berseria
Yeah.
to my list.
Um. So all throughout the game, it's just you questioning. It's just you questioning how you should deal with the world. Should you go
Mm.
with Flynn's sense of justice or with Yuri's? Of course, if you want to be if you want to be the anti-hero, you would go with Yuri. Of course, like
Mm.
I mean, with our society right now, you would think that righteous indignation, evil should be dealt with, right? Um, but then again, you don't want to you don't want to look so black and white and cruel. You expect the goodness
Vigilante
out of
justice. Mm.
you'd go with
Mm, mm,
Flynn. So aesthetic aside, I'm more drawn into their philosophy, really. Next, I would go with these two. All right, with these three. Okay, we got Clive in Star Ocean 3, Cliff, Wild Arms 5, and Regal of Tales of Symphonia. Now, uh, with these picks, I'm gravitated to them because of their character sprites in game. You know how sometimes when you see someone when you see a guy who's really buff, lean, and muscular, really wearing such tight clothing, and you can't help but to take a glance. So
Yeah.
that's basically me. If you're gonna ask me what's their backstory, I can't tell you. Why? Because I'm so distracted looking at them all the time. Every time when they're on screen. So whenever their party members are there in the screen, and if they're there, I'm looking at them. I'm not looking at anyone. I'm not even listening. I'm not listening to whatever they're saying. I'm not even reading the dialogue. I'm for some reason I'm looking at them because I don't know. They just look so right.
I mean,
What I'm
there's
talking
this
about.
charisma because
There's
they're,
just
they
something
have.
that draws your eyes to them, especially with Regal. Okay, if I'm going to talk about Regal, okay, Regal's from Tales of Symphonia. So he's the guy. As far as I can tell, if I can remember, so he was falsely imprisoned. Okay, and in prison he was wearing these shackles on his hands. Okay, so all he can
Mm,
do is move his feet. Um, he kind of reminds me of those the origins of Taekwondo. You know how Taekwondo, the origin of Taekwondo, if I get this right, the origins of Taekwondo were invented by Korean women, imprisoned Korean women. To defend themselves, they use kicks. They use their legs because they're physically bound with their hands. That's why they got powerful legs, and so they invented a martial arts that involves their legs more rather than using their hands. That's basically Regal. In prison, he grew so he really jacked up. He's really buff, but his move list basically involves a lot of kicking. That aside, okay, because he uses his legs more, then that means he uses his glutes more. I- In
mm.
game, all right, in game, all right. His character sprite. If you're going to turn, if you're going to turn him around, and you're just seeing his butt, you can ladies, when in a certain angle, when the perfect light shines on your butt, and you can see your part, and people can see your panty lines.
Ah, okay, okay. I get it. I get it. I get it.
If
I
you're gonna
get
look
it.
at Regal's butt, there's something there.
Oh my God.
There's always
Really?
something there. and and
Attention
that
to
is why
detail.
and that is why whenever when I'm rolling around the world map, you know how you know how Miss and Sir Joel will know this. You know how sometimes you can change your party member who's your main avatar running
Mhm.
around. I
Yes.
always choose Regal as my main avatar running around, and I try to stop right there, stand, and then move the camera a little bit close up, and that's prime A grade butt right there, rump right there. Okay, same goes with
You're
same
looking at
goes
different backstory.
same goes with Cliff. Same goes with Cliff, and same goes with Greg. Next, next, keeping it halal, guys. It's a family show. Next, we got Joey and Freya. All right. So
Mm,
these two, okay, I'm more attracted to them in their character art. Really, just their character art.
mm.
If I am attractive to the muscular build of those three, I'm attracted to these two because of their feminine features. Really. Yeah,
Mm.
at first, okay. So Joey, of course, PS1, Suikoden 2, right?
Yes.
And of course, long hair, best friend. I really thought I really thought at first that Joey was a girl, but
Yeah,
then
it's so pretty.
it's a guy, right? I mean, he's just too pretty to be a guy, right? And then you look at Freya, Freydor, and Missino will know this if she has if she has the CD, I mean the PS2 game of this. The cover of Suikoden 5, it's Freydor, front row and center. And I'm like, is this a guy or a girl? Because I have been fooled before. And again, Freya is just too damn pretty to be a guy. But then again, I'd still hit that.
I have
So again,
before. Okay.
it's a family show. And
I
then we
think there's
got
some stuff
these
about
two
the sensitivities of male characters.
male
Like you're
characters.
seeing a different side to it aside from the gruff manly image that other characters have.
Now, these two is a combination of both. All right. Um, they look pretty, but they're guys.
Crow.
So we got Bart from Xenogears and Crow
Crow.
from Trails of Cold Steel. And I'll talk about Crow first. With Crow, in comparison with the male character, with the main character, which is Reen, I feel that Crow would have been a great main character
True.
in his own game, without
Yes.
spoiling anything. The way
Um,
his backstory, his motivation on why he did what he did. He should be his own main character in his own story. Really, he has a lot more personality than Reen. Okay,
yeah.
he looks more handsome than Reen.
Yeah.
In more aspects than one. He's just more attractive than Reen physically and personality wise. With Bart,
I think it's because
oh no,
the insert. That's why the main characters are usually on the bland side, so that the players could self insert easily more. Feel like they're the character.
um, and how about Bart? Okay, Bart. We have Bartholomew Fatima. Okay, from Xenogears. Um, he is the guy. So he turns out to be self-proclaimed Faye's best friend. Okay, throughout the game, and I'm. It's more of his. It's he's more juvenile. In his actions and in his decisions. At first he reminded me of Duo Maxwell from Gundam Wing because of the
Oh,
because of the hairdo and the way he
the
acts
hair.
as well. It kind of reminds me of Duo Maxwell, which if we're going to talk about anime husbandos, I would go with Duo Maxwell as well. I just like guys with long hair for some reason.
Same.
Um, Sir Dan mentioned here I should check out the protagonist of Shin Megami Tensei 5. About that, okay? About that, okay. We're talking about male characters who looks androgynous, really long hair. That guy takes the cake, okay. But I only played like an hour of Shin Megami Tensei, and still I don't know what the hell was that all about. Maybe in the distant future when I play a lot more Shin Megami Tensei, um, because all I'm seeing with the main character of Shin Megami Tensei, if Bayonetta was a guy, if Bayonetta was a guy and he just let his hair flow, not stick to his body as clothing, just just letting the breeze, like like an overgrown, like a walking Pantene commercial, if that makes sense. Zidane Tribal says androgynous, same as Van in Final Fantasy 12. You know what? The only reason why I didn't include any Final Fantasy characters here, because to me, each Final Fantasy male character, for some reason, had something, like something holding them back for me. Okay,
A chip on
uh,
their shoulder.
it's just something. I don't know. Although, if I'm gonna throw in a bias here, I can go with Irvin. Why? Long hair, guys.
And
But
very
that's
Han
me.
Solo.
That's me. That's me. So um, I could There's a lot more husbandos to choose from with all of my years with playing JRPGs, really. But those are just my guys. Top of my head. Back to you guys.
I would say I'm actually curious with the one because I have Tales of Symphonia in my library on Steam, and I'm curious about Regal after you said that.
Oh, you're curious about Regal now.
I have like 16 minutes of playtime. I think I'm gonna go back and start the game and see what.
For all of you people who are playing Tales of Symphonia, okay, the male. So out of all of the male characters there, just go with Regal. I mean, Lloyd is too childish. Uh, um, uh, Ash is just it's just a pompous womanizer. But Regal, Regal's a true gentleman, guys. Okay, despite how much I describe him in so lewdly way. My text is blowing up from Sir Viraj here. Back to you guys.
I'll take your word for it, then, Sir Joe, and I will go for Regal then. Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask something to Miss Hino about a Fire Emblem because earlier I remember my friend who said she likes Scrum, and she mentioned something about the difference between the Fire Emblem Japanese and US version. I suppose Miss Hino knows this. Is it true that in the Japanese version, um, in the bottom part of the 3DS, you can actually, for lack of better term, caress the characters? Do you know that one? Like in Pokemon, when you pet your
To,
Pokemon, in
to
Fire
some
Emblem, you can.
extent, you can still do it in the English version.
Oh, I thought it was just purely on the Japanese version. Oh, you still can on the US version? Oh,
You can still caress them.
correct.
Some extent.
I think that's an interesting feature of the game because it's supposed to be a strategy game. Then it turned into down the line
Dating
a
sim slash, yeah.
right. I
I
found,
mean,
found that
if it brings new fans, so that means more money, more projects.
yes, and I hope maybe if new fans are drawn to the modern versions, I hope they are also drawn to try the older versions because the only Fire Emblem I've
Yeah.
tried so far is on the GBA, and I did enjoy that one. I forgot.
We need remasters of the older titles. I wanna play them. I heard they're brutal with permadeath, so I
Okay.
wanna try that. Even though I just brute force everything. So yeah,
I was devastated when one of my characters died, and oh no, I can't get him back anymore.
no.
So bad with permadeath. Oh, and we're almost close to the we are at the 2 hour mark. May I ask Sir Joel if he has any other opinions on the topic, and after the other honorable mentions before we end the show?
Oh, for me?
Yes, Sir Joel. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant I thought you were saying Joe. Okay.
Oh,
Anyway,
sorry.
yeah. Well, generally, yeah. Again, it all comes back to the fact that they all seem to be very interesting characters, and of all of them, I think Miss Hino's choice of Fire Emblem might be a little bit more interesting. It's just that I'm terribly crap at tactical strategy games. So, like we discussed in one of our previous Timeless Gamer episodes, it is a big
Ain't
barrier.
nobody got time for that.
Yeah, that's
Joel
another-
ain't got no
nobody
time
got
for
time for that. Yeah.
Nobody got time for that.
Because of the fact that it's a very high barrier to entry for somebody like me. It's extremely slow in terms of gameplay. I like turn-based RPGs. I love them actually, but tactical strats can be plodding in terms of pacing for me. So the question for me is: do I want are the characters that are presented interesting enough for me to want to go through the arduousness of having to go through a tactical strategy game for me to understand how well written they are. So that is the thing that popped in
The
my
main
head.
thing about Fire Emblem that I don't.
Mm.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, Joe. So the
Yeah,
main
go ahead.
problem
No, no,
that I have
that
with
was just
Fire
my main
Emblem.
point. The fact
Yeah.
is it worth it? investing my time in a tactical strategy game to enjoy the characters inside of Fire Emblem. Maybe you might have an insight on this, Joe.
I know. I mean, to piggyback on what Sir Joel mentioned about the characters, the one thing about Fire Emblem that really pulls me back on playing them, because there's just way too many characters. It's bad enough that it's a strategy RPG, but that
Yeah.
means although it gives you more variety, really, but then that means I have to grind every each one of them just so that I can find my best party, and there's a lot of them, right? I would rather have like like 6 or 8 like main party members. Then that's it. At least I can only choose from 8 people, not 20, not 30, not 40. You know what I mean? Because we ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
All that grinding for all of those characters just to find your best party. But then
Uh,
again,
Sadly, to answer Joel's question, sadly, since Joe mentioned that the cast is really a large cast of characters, sadly, some of the writing on some of the characters are very surface level. Some even more of like on the comedic wacky side. Others are good, but as you mentioned, Joel, the pacing can be slow. So, having that slow pacing, and then what if you accidentally pick a character that's very, shallowly written? So of course, that's gonna deter you. Now, I can only speak of like the DS titles, and yeah, some characters are more on the shallow side. I do not know about the Switch entries, and I think a more focused Fire Emblem is Conquest. I think it's more manageable versus the other DS titles, and I can't really talk about the original Game Boy one since I haven't played them, but I I do I do have the impression that for the for Three Houses, the three main leaders of each house are very fleshed out in terms of writing. So if you go for them, yeah, I think it's gonna be worth it. I don't know for the rest of the cast of characters that are the main three. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your inputs and opinions on our topic, and also for giving your picks for tonight and expanding on them. It's really interesting to see all the characters you have chosen as husbandos and the games they were from. And as Sir Joel said, it makes me, and I hope other our audiences too, it makes us interested in trying out the games, not only for the characters but also for the story, from what we have gathered on each and every one's explanations. And I think that's it for tonight's episode. Unless anybody has something to add on to the discussion. So
now we good.
we're
No, I
good.
think we're generally good. Yeah, we had a great discussion, and yeah, I appreciate all of your inputs on this and viewpoints. Thanks very much, guys.
And thank you also as well to all the people who participated on our comment section on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. And I guess it's time
Thank
for
you,
shameless
guys.
plug.
Shameless plug. Okay, let's go with shameless plug. Miss Hinu, where can they find you?
You guys can find me my Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All are Hinootora. So you guys can see my posts there. I'm mostly active on Instagram. If you guys wanna, chat about games, or I leave reviews there. I also post some of my hauls. So if that's something that you're looking forward to, or if you wanna see some games that you might like wanna try, I have a couple of reviews there for the games that I have finished. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you for that, Miss Hinu. How about Sir Joel?
All right. Well, you can always catch me at my twitch.tv channel, Banyagang Native, also on kick.com, Banyagang Native, hashtag FUFB. Been streaming a lot of racing games recently, fishing games, and let's see. I have yet to start off on my playthrough of Lands of Lore, but that may have to be set aside because of the characters that have been talked about today. Because there's been so many good games that have been mentioned that sound like they're going to be up my alley as well. So maybe Lands of Lore, maybe some of the games that have been discussed today, but overall, lots of gaming to be had, and you can always find me here in the Timeless Gamer Show, and trying to entertain and educate everybody. Back to you, Joe.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Joel, and of course the show captain for tonight, Miss I.
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch as Lynn Porter. And I don't know when I can stream again, but when I do, you'll just see the notification as Lynn Porter went live.
All right, thank you for that, Miss I. And that is the show, guys. And on behalf of Sir Ray from PG, he's currently in PGTX, studio.ph, and on behalf of Sir Jomar, Shuffle Emporium, and on behalf of Sir Viraj and Sir Dan from the Sega Mega Masters show, check their show out. It's Sega Mega Masters, available in YouTube. They talk about everything Sega, Master System, and the Mega Drive. And of course, Sir JDM of 123 Go Retro. You can check him out at Twitch and Facebook. I'm not sure if he's doing Facebook as of now. And that's a show. Thank you guys so much. And to all of you guys down there at the chat, Sir Dan, Zidane, Sir Marlon, Sir JDM is still watching us, and our brother RV there at the background, and Nishuni OG, yes, Reikyu, and Shark 987. Thank you all so much for.
Oh, and don't forget, did we mention Miss Tadeo, Miss Jade Tadeo?
Oh yeah,
Thank you so much,
Madur. Thank you, Madur. That's a show, guys, and we will see you next time. And as always, our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey,
timeless. Thanks very much, guys. See you again next week. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye.